All right, Max, first of all, clearly a better response right after the Miami game and even the Minnesota one. But I presume the frustration, it's just as much as you head back on a long flight. What stands out the most to you about this one?
Yeah, like you said, I think if you're looking at it from a process standpoint, this was a good bounce back for us. I thought us as a cohesive unit was a lot better than Miami or previously on the road trip. I thought our communication was better. I think we did enough to win the game. They hit a big shot at the end, but overall, I think from a process standpoint, this is a good step in the right direction.
Just take us through the possession on Trey at the end of regulation when you get the block.
Yeah, I think they were running Bogdanovich or something into a kind of a ghost screen where we did a good job communicating, so I just stayed on him. And I'm looking behind, the clock's kind of ticking down. He's beyond the 4-point line, so I know he's got to do some sort of step back, something crazy. So I was able to anticipate it. Kind of gave me a little in and out to step back, and I was able to anticipate the block.
You ended up fouling out in OT. What did you see on that play and kind of just the way that the whistle was going throughout the night for you?
It was a physical game, to be honest, and I think JJ made that point too. He wanted us to be physical, and I think I did a good job of that. Obviously, I fouled out maybe a little bit too much, but on that last play, I just closed out really hard. DeAndre Hunter is shooting it really well. He shot it really well tonight, so I kind of wanted to close out to him, make him put it on the ground, and kind of close out a little too recklessly, and he bumped into me, fell down. So it is what it is.
When the team is in the stretch where you guys have lost 7 and 9, how tough is it to view things in a process standpoint when the immediate gratification, you can sense the energy in here. You guys need to win.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. It's difficult. Obviously, we all want to win. That's all what we're here for. I think over some reflection and watching film, and I think even tomorrow we'll see when we're watching film that we got better. I think from previous games on this road trip, and just looking at a process standpoint, we took a step in the right direction when the outcome wasn't there. So that's all we can ask for, to be honest. Obviously, we wanted to win, but I think this game will serve us in the future.
LeBron, clearly the just level of competition and energy was a lot better than the previous games. Did you feel like it comes down to late game execution? What stood out to you tonight?
None. They made a couple more plays than we made.
How did you feel about the response from the way you get played in Miami?
We just played how you were supposed to play.
Is this the standard in terms of effort that needs to be out there for you guys on a nightly basis?
I don't know.
Yeah, they're not going to get it all back in one night. You and AD obviously had that huge productive tight nights, but there was a couple of plays late, the turnover miscue and then the inbounds where he got wrapped up. How do you guys communicate with one another after that, knowing that?
What happened? He turned it over. I picked him up, got back, got the block. We got the possession. We got it in. They tied it up. Those are not miscues. He turned it over. It's my job to back him. That's what teammates do. I got back, got the block off Daniel's hands. We got the ball back, entered the ball. They did a great job of tying him up.
Johan?
Ron, I guess moving forward, you guys are going to be back in LA for about a week before going back out on the road. What can, you got the game on Sunday, but what can this kind of stretch after basically being on the road for 2 weeks do for you guys in terms of resetting and
No, we actually leave Thursday, so it's not a week. We leave Thursday, go to Minnesota. So it's one game for one, home for one game, and then leaving a few more days after that.
LeBron, you're 39, almost 40, 39-point triple-double. You think the fans are really appreciating what you're able to still do?
I don't know. Just go out there and just play the game the right way, compete at a high level, and leave it all on the floor every time I go out there. My time is very limited on how long I'll play, so I'm just happy to still be able to play the game that I love.
Gabe Drew did start for you guys tonight. Had one of his more productive games since joining the team last year. What I guess did you see from him out there tonight, and what can I guess that version of him
He just played well. He played well. Got the start now. He played well.
Last question.
Obviously, the losing is frustrating.
Excuse me.
What's it going to take for this team to get over the hump? Where are you seeing not enough coming from?
We have about 5 guys in our top 11 not in uniform. We're mixed matching with lineups. We're trying to figure out ways, obviously, so it's very challenging. We don't have much room for error. I said that in the beginning of the season. So when you have 5 guys, when you have AR out, Vando out. Seawood has not played this year. Jackson, so it's big pieces, and so I don't know as far as what will help us get over the hump. We just gotta just not drown, don't drown, and we'll be all right.
JJ, it did seem like you got the response from energy, competitive standpoint, but it is the late game execution, or is there frustration kind of shades from the Orlando game? How do you put all that together?
Different type scenario than the Orlando game, but certainly frustrated with late game execution. Turnover. Braun makes a great play to get the block. Wasn't exactly the right sort of angles and screening that we had sort of done many times, in practice, one of our end game, get the ball in plays. And I think the concern when you run that is when AD comes back towards half court, that's not what you want ideally, because then he's sort of in a trappable spot versus catching it in the middle of the floor. And then, they did a good job just in pursuit of the basketball on the jump ball. And then, I don't know if it was the communication or whatnot, but, you can't. We messed up the red with Trae Young. Left him open, so.
So are you wanting to blitz him there to get the ball out of his hands ideally, or?
It was discussed with the group. Yeah, no, we weren't. It was just a normal red scenario like you would do a million times end game. Thought Gabe defensively was really good. I thought a lot of our guys really competed on that end. Trae's tough. He's not the size of some of the bigger players like Luka or LeBron or Joker, but he knows how to manipulate a defense. He's a really good player.
JJ, you mentioned Gabe. You gave him the start tonight. What went into putting him in the starting lineup, and how much was that matchup dependent, going against Trae?
Yeah, it just felt like, and again, we debated back and forth. Do we want to play coverage? Do we want to be in switching? And, I think he was 9 for 25. I think the thought process was, that staying out of coverage and out of drop where he's just, throwing the ball over the place and getting 18 assists was not the right option. And then he gets 20. So didn't do a great job of our Reds in general. Thought when we did it, it was solid and we kept people in front of us. But, just too much. We talk all the time too. Is like if we're gonna, we always have the whole season. I've had switching groups, and if you still need a low man, and I don't think we were great with our low man tonight. Had a couple good low mans, but didn't have good low mans.
In Miami, a lot of the guys were talking about their own accountability and needing to improve upon that as you guys move forward. When you get a 39-point triple-double from LeBron, but maybe ill-advised 3 in the fourth, and you have nearly the same numbers from AD, but you could probably look at some of those turnovers, or Gabe plays his best game as a Laker, but maybe that defensive possession doesn't go the right way. What's the best way to kind of acknowledge that, there was strong performance? The margins that.
Yeah, I told the group that I appreciated their effort, their intent, their energy, and truthfully, a lot of their execution. Like we did enough to win a basketball game tonight. We did enough to win a basketball game, similar to Orlando, similar to Oklahoma City. I thought we did enough to win a basketball game. I'm very appreciative of that. And you can like build on that. You can, adjust and scheme and maybe tweak some things late game. That stuff you can build on.
Kind of along those lines with Gabe, in a heavier volume role, it seemed like not just defensively, but he was able to get in the paint some, create a little bit for people. On the bigger picture, what did he do tonight that maybe showed what he can do as a part of your rotation and a part of this team's sort of pathway to winning?
I think the biggest thing is just his defensive toughness, and he, I think, has played aggressive throughout the season. It's not like he's passing stuff up. He's just not as involved when he's like the third ball handler, if that makes sense, versus the first or second ball handler. And I'm certainly comfortable putting Gabe out there on the court.
JJ, you guys now return back to LA for nearly a week. You have the game on Sunday.
It was a 2-week road trip, let's be honest.
Yeah.
It was a 2-week road trip. We had to stop in LA for 36 hours. Yeah.
So what can that do for the group in terms of having a little bit of a break after the Sunday game and just being in LA now for having a little bit more stability there in terms of just resetting and kind of figuring out the stretch?
We got to turn around and play a great game and go beat a really good Detroit team. Or, I'm sorry, Portland on Sunday. And they're tough and they play fast and they have athletes. Like, again, a lot of the stuff that has given us issues this year in terms of just their movement and quickness and all that stuff. So we got to do it on Sunday. And then that break, if you call it a break, for 3-4 days, like we have to use that for our minds, for our bodies, for cleanup. It'll be a good opportunity for us. But I don't necessarily think the reset starts Monday, in terms of kind of focusing on us, our bodies, our minds, our execution, all of those things. We got to go win a basketball game on Sunday.
Coach, forgive me if you answered this in the past, but watching LeBron in the lens of a coach now at this age, to see him do what he did tonight, what is that like? What is that through your vision?
It's similar to playing against him or watching him the last few years when I was out of the league. But it is remarkable, given the road trip and the travel and the schedule we've had, that he can go play 43 minutes, at his age and perform.
Coach, you mentioned a minute ago about Trae Young's toughness and him being able to manipulate a defense. Seems like Trae's playing his best ball of his career so far as facilitating and scoring. How have you seen his game grow over the last few years?
I think he's actually a little more active defensively. Using his hands. He's not a bigger player. He's not a stronger player, but just using his hands. And then offensively, he's always been a juggernaut. He's a guy. I mentioned a few of the other guys, but James Harden, like he's in that class of player that you can just have a really good offense around him because he can manipulate it, and he's tough. He's shooting floaters, drives, drawing fouls, obviously creating for others. He's tough.
Thanks, Coach. Thank you.